I've just got to have Reverend Coleman come and do a seminar on that in New York. Because the stuff's always working, but you got to know how to work it correctly. And just as sure as you can catch hell, you can catch heaven. Just as sure as you can catch the lack of money, you can catch the plenitude of money. There's a scripture that says, the tongue of the wise is health. The tongue of the righteous tends only to plenteousness. That's working with the principles in the correct way. Repeat it after me. The tongue of the righteous.
The tongue of the righteous.
The thoughts of the righteous.
The thoughts of the righteous.
Tend only to
plenteousness.
So you see, we all have the gift. But what's the difference? How we use the gift. Knowing how to work it. Knowing how to work with it, because it's always working. You're always working it. But that's why many times this philosophy is called a science. Science of mind, mind science. I call my heresy, philosophy, the science of living. And science is from the original Greek in the New Testament, gnoski, meaning to know. Say to know.
To know.
Gnoski. See, you're talking in tongues already. And Jesus did say, if you believe in me, you'll speak in other tongues. And of course, in one way, I call those other tongues, you stop speaking in the tongues of sickness and poverty, want, lack, and limitation. And you'll start speaking in the tongues of good health, happiness, love, success, prosperity, and money. Because you will realize that you're always working with the principles. And the word that goes forth out of my mouth shall not return unto me void, but it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I send it, and it shall accomplish that which I please. And you're always creating with your thoughts and with your words. Now, a lot of people, when they hear that, they say, talk is cheap. If you think that, look at your telephone bill. I'm not going to tell who it is, but a member of my staff. My wife got the telephone bill the other day and found $1,300 worth of strange calls. Well, she found out quickly who it was and collected. But you ask that person if talk is cheap. It is not. So there's power in your words. Now, I talk about so many things. When that young lady and my wife went back to that same spot where she had picked up all the money, same spot where God knows how many cars and people had passed. I love that song by the Ink Spots, long before any of you were born, back in the 40s. I only have eyes for you. You got to have eyes for money. That's a part of the gift of money. Say that to the people next to you. You got to have eyes for money. Stop and think for a moment. The ramp off of Highway 95 in New York, thousands of people must have passed by. Why didn't they see it? They didn't have eyes for money. They were not on the money frequency. But you'll be surprised when you get on the money frequency. I like that. Say money frequency.
Money frequency.
Say it again.
Money frequency.
Say it again.
Money frequency.
You see, everything exists at various frequencies of vibrations of consciousness. Into this room now are thousands of radio signals. Says, well, why don't we hear them? Television signals. Why don't we hear them? Because you're not tuned. You got to get tuned into the principles. And every one of those radio stations exists at a certain frequency. Whatever kind of music that you want to listen to in this city, you can pick it up. It's right there on the dial, from one end to the other. But why sit there with your radio and say, well, I sure wish I could hear some classical music. Or I wish I could hear some hip hop. Tune in. Say to the people around you, tune in to money. And I'm here to give you a startling announcement. There is not, nor has there ever been, nor will there ever be any lack of money or any good thing. Good. You got to tune into it. I was watching one of the, a secretary of mine from the Phoenix office called me a few weeks ago and said, I saw the Oprah show, and the subject was unknown money. And so I caught the show in New York a few days later, and it was unknown money and how to find your unknown money. And she had a couple of authors that had written books on that subject. Unknown money. And she put up a telephone number where you could call to do a search to see if somebody that you didn't know passed on and couldn't take it with them and left it for you. Lo and behold, she did a search on my ministry organization and found unknown money in New York for our ministry. And for one of the gentlemen who has worked for this organization for 30 years. Guess what homie did? I have in our congregation a retired banker, and I called him in. I said, we are going to set up a money search department in this church. And I'm going to buy computers, which I did. And we are going to have people who want to know if there's any hidden or unknown money anywhere for them to come in, and we'll conduct a money search. Of course, it'll cost you money. Takes money to get money. Say that. Takes money to get money. Did you ever think, you see, don't ever give people the idea that you're giving something for nothing, because that's what they'll get. See, if you're looking for nothing, you won't see nothing, you won't hear nothing, you won't get nothing. You'll lose what you've got, because the easiest people to cheat are those people who look for something for nothing. Because very soon you'll meet somebody who's looking for the same thing you're looking for, but they're a little smarter than you. I tell my people also, if XYZ Furniture Store has a sign in the window, buy a bedroom set and we'll give you a TV set free. I said, don't even cross in front of the window, cross the street. You know why? You're going to end up paying more for that TV set than you would have paid for it otherwise. But anyway, I got the books that were offered on that show, and I can see some of you now. And I'm going to tell you something. There's some of you here that have some money. Reverend Carey, you've got some. And it wants to find you. And so I got those books. One of those authors said, for example, that at any given time in the United States of America, there's something like $300 billion worth of unclaimed money and property. And only about 15% of it ever gets claimed. People dying poor because they don't know they're rich. Somebody say, sad, sad, sad.
I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. The angels in the heaven changed my